DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts.
That's strange. Seems like the magic has been drained somehow.
Scrooge McDuck inspects the castle's mystical foundations.
Got to be delicate when dealing with unpredictable druid stones.
I've got it. Oh! Now you broke my castle and my foot.
I broke. If you don't like how I do things, you can call one of your other kids instead.
Who do you think I called first?
Hello, brother! Oh, Matilda! Oh, I thought you were off selling goat yogurt.
It was goat gurt, and unfortunately, that business went sour.
What is happening?
Scrooge's youngest sister, Matilda, a McDuck I've never met! This is the coolest! Stay professional, Webby. This is the coolest.
It's the week of Tuesday, November 24th, and you're listening to episode 117, DuckTalks. Welcome to another exciting episode of DuckTalks. Right? Exciting? Yeah? I mean, it's not like the week after 3 weeks without recording exciting, a month worth of content to cover, nothing like that, but we've got like regular news, we've got Duck merch, and we've got an episode to talk about. So that's going to be interesting. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We're glad you're here. If you're a new listener, just happen to come across us with this episode, thanks for checking it out. We hope that you enjoy the show and reach out to us on social media or check out our website over at ducktalks.com. And for those of you who are returning week in and week out, thank you. My name's Mitch. I'm one of your hosts, and joining me this week, I have Pirate Steven.
Ahoy there, Duckberg.
Man, you missed the big episode last week.
I wouldn't say I missed it. I'm glad y'all recorded.
Yeah, it was a lot to cover. Josh and I were like, okay, can we knock this thing out in an hour? That was kind of our goal, was to cover all the news in an hour, but we knew we weren't going to be able to review all the episodes, so we set that precedent, that's not the right word. We set that expectation up at the very beginning and asked people whether or not they wanted us to come back around and review these later. We got absolutely no feedback on that, so I think we're good to go.
Yeah, makes sense. Who got picked for the randoms?
So we voted, since it was just the two of us, and we decided to do away with that. We're no longer doing those.
Okay.
We thought it was time to change it up. I mean,
No, I'm good with it.
100 and something episodes. Now, we were going to give you an opportunity to veto that, but I told Josh there was no way you vetoed that.
Yeah, I'm down.
So we've got a few things to cover, mostly Doug merch this week, which I know that a lot of our listeners will be excited about. They love those conversations. Before we do that, there was some big news in the last few weeks with Darkwing Duck and the Donald Duck Funko Pop and a few other things that we kept talking about how you would have been interested in that part of the conversation. Anything you wanted to kind of just give a few thoughts on from all the news?
No, I thought it was really funny that on November 18th, which was Mickey Mouse's 92nd birthday, they decided to release the standard Donald Duck Funko Pop that we've been waiting for. You especially have been waiting for, at the Funko Hollywood headquarters store exclusive. So good luck on that one.
I was so mad. I told Josh I was way more mad than I ever should have been over something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the prices, if in the secondary market, aren't too bad.
No.
I've seen them for like 30, 35. I mean, it's still expensive for a Funko Pop, but I think an exclusive at the store probably will run about 15. So it's not, and you think shipping, so it's not that far off.
Yeah, if I could find somebody, I think the best I could get one is maybe like 27. So 30 is a good price. I think 30 is reasonable.
It makes no sense, especially because I want to know when the next Funko headquarter exclusive is, because it's going to be Daisy. Because I don't know why they wouldn't release the Donald Duck standard with the new Daisy standard that we've seen on the Funko card game and in the keychain size. So
that's
I
one of the
Daisy to come very soon.
That's one of the things that I complained about. It's that exact same pose as the keychain.
Yeah.
So,
I think last year we complained too much that there wasn't enough Donald Duck Funko Pops, and now this year there's been like 6. So maybe we'll stop complaining.
Yeah, I also said last week that if they were to put out the black shirt one as a regular that I could get at like Target or anywhere else, I'd be okay with that. I'd rather have the black shirt in my collection than the
for
blue.
Sure, yeah. And I can see people. There's a lot of talented artists out there. I could see a lot of customs. Somebody making a Donald Duck DuckTales version custom. I would love to see that. If you make it, let me know. I'll send you some cash.
That's right. We're interested. That is at DuckTalks over on the Twitter. Let's jump into this news, unless you had a Darkwing Duck hot take.
I have lots of Darkwing Duck hot takes all the time.
So the big news item that we have this week, the only news item that we have this week, is the promos that we received for the Santa Claus episode, the Christmas episode. I'm not even sure the title of that episode because we've called it the Christmas episode.
How Santa Stole Christmas.
How Santa Stole Christmas.
Which is a play on How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah.
Which it looks fantastic. I can't wait to talk about it next week when we actually see it. But DuckTales and Scrooge McDuck and Christmas, all the Carl Barks Christmas stories are some of my favorites that I read from those Fantagraphics volumes. So I just think they nail Christmas, and I can't wait for another instant classic like the last Christmas episode was.
Yeah, and this episode's received a little bit of advertisement. Entertainment Weekly did an article on it. I think they had the exclusive on the first promo that was out there, and they also did a write-up on it where they spoke with Frank Angonez about the episode, and they talked about how they wanted Santa Claus to be a character and not just like an image. And which is one of the goals they've had with Scrooge. They want him to be a character and not just, something that you think of when you think about DuckTales or Donald Duck comics. They wanted to flesh him out. So they're trying to do that with Santa.
And they've talked about, at least in 3 or 4 episodes, they've talked about Santa, and they've kind of built it up to this moment of, Scrooge at one point in the House of Lucky Gander, I think it was the first reference or maybe the second reference, where he says he knows what he did. So we can't wait to see what Santa did to mess up Scrooge. But the episode description sounds like it's going to be a riot, and like I said, instant classic to put on. We'll also try to release on the blog. We'll try to do a Disney Afternoon Christmas episode list, because there are some really good ones from the classic days as well.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. So we've got this episode coming out next Monday at 7 p.m., and that will be the final episode of DuckTales to premiere in, currently. It'll premiere at the end of November, and that will be it, we know, until sometime in 2021. So we'll see what happens after that. But you can also watch the episode anytime on that Monday at Disney Now.
I'm kind of okay with the hiatus at this point.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a well-earned one because September, October episodes were so good. But what episode is this going to be, like 18 or something like that?
I think with this one we're at 19.
19, so
we've got 5 left.
Yeah, 5 more. So about a month.
But
a month and a week worth of episodes.
Well, but we're planning on, or we're expecting one of the finale to be a 2-parter. So that means 4 episodes.
Oh, for sure.
So that's just going to be 1 month. So we've got 1 month of episodes left.
Oh man.
Sometime in 2021.
I'm guessing May.
May. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Every day in May. They like that stuff.
Yeah. So it might be a little bit a while before we get to see what happens with the Fowl and the Duck family. And also, we're not going to get, of course, those great episodes on Disney Plus until the season's over. But we still haven't heard anything about fourth season or any concrete news on the Darkwing Duck spinoff. I can't. Yeah. Well,
Slash reboot.
Yeah, come on. I wasn't there last week.
Spinoff or reboot.
Yeah, I totally feel like Variety just got some news and just put it out there just because they wanted to be the first to put something out there, but I don't buy that one. So I'm going to put my money on black or red, whatever you do with the roulette table. I'm going to put it on that was false information, and that I feel like it's going to go to our friends and our Ducktail crew. That's just me.
I agree, and I think they were fed some information, and then when they checked on it, they saw what they were looking for and then ran with it.
Yeah.
Because I know is it Gray Point or Point Grey? Point Grey. I know Point Grey pitched a Darkwing Duck series. I've heard that.
Yes, of course.
But I don't think that's what...
We heard that and we didn't leak it out.
Right. Because it's not news.
Yeah, exactly.
They pitched it. A lot of people have pitched it. Hey, we heard about some other DuckTales. I don't know if you saw this. I will talk about it when we talk about this week's episode. Sam King was on Twitter talking about a DuckTales, not Darkwing, a DuckTales project that's dead that didn't get greenlit, but they worked on. So I thought that was interesting. There's been others, and we know Tailspin has been pitched as well. There's been a number of stuff.
What was the information on the DuckTales thing? Because we haven't heard about the Epcot DuckTales adventure in a while.
I guess, no, it wouldn't be part of that. So you're talking about what was Sam talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll jump to that. So she was kind of giving some commentary on the new McDuck clan that were added to this episode, the statues that came to life. They're new characters. They're not from any of the previous stuff. And she kind of gave some insight where they came from, and that came from a canceled DuckTales project, and she said a small part of that was going to be about Clan McDuck. Her and Madison were interested in exploring adding more women to the family tree. So that's where their names are in here. Danny and the Countess, and then there was the Archer character as well. Those three were created by them for this other pitch, which kind of sounds to me like it might have been a Life and Time story.
Oh man, don't tell Don Rosa that they're making up. Next time we see Don Rosa, please don't mention.
Someone at Disney was like, "You can't do that. We can't do a Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck series. We're not ready for those phone calls."
No, I mean they need to go if they're going to do something like that. They need to go with Sylvani and Sparrow, Life and Times of Launchpad McQuack.
Here we go. That would be good.
Let's get something original out there.
Yeah, Life and Times of Launchpad would be fun. But I thought that was interesting. It definitely sounds like there were other projects built around DuckTales that were happening at one point, and it really kind of sounds like a lot of that has fizzled out.
Yeah. We, like I said, we haven't heard about season 4 yet, and it just makes me nervous that all of these creative geniuses that have worked on the show are on other projects far from DuckTales. But what gives me hope, and like I said, either for season 4 or some kind of spinoff, is that there are some really, really key individuals in the DuckTales universe spinoff that we have that aren't on other projects right now, like Frank and Matt and
Tanner
and Humphreys.
Yeah.
Jason Zurich. So these are all people that we follow, and they're not talking about other projects right now, but all these other people are. So
yeah, I don't think any of the main writers I think Ben Simon maybe has talked about being on something else, and maybe Christian. But I don't know that I've seen Colleen or Madison talk about anything else either, have they? I'd have to check that. But I feel like the writers haven't been. It was the storyboard artists, and maybe some of the directors, like you said.
Yeah, and Madison, who wrote the episode we're going to talk about today, said that she wrote this one a long, long time ago, that she even forgot some of it.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I mean, when you think about it, season 3 was greenlit while season 2 was still happening. So, yeah, and which also means, if we're talking about a season 4, which also means they could have already been working on writing for a season 4, even though it's not out, it's not being worked on yet. So who knows? I'm still saying season 4 is unlikely, but it's not dead, I don't think. It's not a definite.
So somebody commented on you guys' last episode that said something about Darkwing Duck being unlikely. And they put even a minute mark. At this mark, you said that.
Oh, did I?
Somebody said it.
I didn't see that. That was over on Twitter?
No, it was on YouTube. YouTube comment.
Oh, I'll have to check those. I haven't seen that. I might have. Josh might have. Who knows? All right, well, that is all of the news. We've got a great episode left, and then a hiatus. I do feel like we've been conditioned for hiatuses at this point.
Yeah, we got our loose pants on, not just for Thanksgiving, but for DuckTales hiatus. We need to talk to Frank about getting on this exclusive list, because that we're not Variety or Make-Up Stories or. Or Den of Geek or Entertainment Tonight, but you know what? We're here. We got a big following. So
yeah, they toss out those exclusives.
Yeah, let's get on that exclusive bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about some Duck merch. Speaking of bandwagon, I don't know how I'm going to use that, but McDonald's toys, they're out there. It was kind of a surprise.
These look like, so this is a Walt Disney World vehicle set. That is the new versions of the Mickey Mouse cartoons, new animated shorts.
Reddish.
Which, have you seen the Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that last week. It was really good.
Man, those were hilarious. So they're about 8-minute shorts, which is usually those shorts are like 3-4 minutes. So this is a longer episodes. They were funny.
Yeah.
A lot of references, especially in the House of Tomorrow one, which is a Disney old time Disneyland attraction that was there. But I love Mickey singing, and of course the Darkwing Duck voice, Chris, singing "Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow." I thought that was hysterical, and the faces they made Mickey make in that series was just crazy. So watch that for sure. I think it's a new episode every week.
Hey, I've got a question on that before we get back to the McDonald's, because I was hoping to be able to talk about this with you. Why do you think they changed it? Like, those have been the Mickey Mouse shorts for the longest time, and then now they've kind of changed the title. Was the last Mickey Mouse short the one with Minnie singing the song with Rusey?
Yes. That was the last one they had for. I guess that appeared on the Disney Channel, whatever channel it was.
Oh, is that why it changed? They just moved it to Disney Plus?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was wondering why the rebranding, because even the music at the end is the same. It just.
And like I said, it's about twice as long, so I don't know if that's part of it.
Okay,
but I think it was to get it on Disney, just to get it on Disney Plus train.
Okay, well, that makes more sense. But I was really surprised when the music started, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't this just the shorts?
Yeah, it's pretty much just longer shorts.
Yeah. All right.
But back to Happy Meal toys.
Happy Meal toys.
The box, this has to be like a series of toys that probably should have came out in March when the ride opened up at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. because that's what the Happy Meal box is a theme to. But yeah, it's a great set of 10 ride vehicles with Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto, just in ride vehicles. All Walt Disney World too, by the way. You would think this is a set that would come out next year for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. Maybe there'll be more that comes out then, because they didn't have a Haunted Mansion vehicle, which I thought was weird. But yeah, great. Great. And you can, most places, McDonald's, if they're nice, will sell you just the Happy Meal toy if that's what you're in there for. And some will be stingy, like tonight when I went to McDonald's and I just wanted to buy the Happy Meal toy. And they wouldn't sell it to me. They wanted me to have a Happy Meal, which I wasn't down for. And I have to go to another one to get it. But I'm about 4 toys into the set of 10, which is fun. And they're going to be stocking stuffers for my 2-year-old.
Oh, that's fun. We did go. The girls wanted to go there one day, and I'm usually very much opposed to it, but I gave in, knowing that the likelihood was high that they would get a Walt Disney World toy as opposed to those really goofy-looking Avenger figures that they were doing.
Oh yeah, those were bad. But
those were very bad.
They were very durable. We happened to go on a road trip to North Carolina, and like I said, my 2-year-old, you just get him one of those toys, and he's the happiest person ever. And for $2, you might as well.
Yeah. So we did stop, and they both got Goofy, which is the engine on the train, just like in the ride. And so I've got one of those tickets in my hand, and it does say that you have to scan or enter the code by 11:59 p.m. Eastern on 8/31/2020. I do know that they said they were honoring these still, because I think these were held back. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to come out with the release of the ride.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I have the ticket because the girls want to enter it in, and we haven't done it yet this week. And I heard someone say that they've extended that. I don't remember where I heard it, but I saw that.
Yeah, so good luck to all those on your hunt. I think they'll do it for probably a month. That's usually the promotion that they run.
Yeah.
But like it's a great stocking stuffer. Usually if they sell the toys, they're like $1.99 or something like that. So it's a great deal for what this is. And all the vehicles can line up to make a long train. So it's something fun to put on your desk.
Yeah, it reminds me, when we were little, we did have something similar to that with the Disney Happy Meal toys. I don't remember if it was the pullback cars or the wind-up cars, but I remember there being a Donald in a train.
Yeah, they had it for either the 20th or the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World as well. They had some kind of train because they had those big balloon floats.
Ah, okay. All right, so also in Duck merch, we've got Fantagraphics books. That's all that's in the notes. I'm going to hand that off to you.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a crazy month. Like we said before, all of them got pushed back this month instead of releasing during the summer. So we've pretty much talked about all the recent ones. The last one was Feathery, Disney Masters book. They came out last week. Really good, like very comprehensive for a Feathery book if you wanted to know. And actually, that DuckTales episode from season 2 wasn't one of my favorite episodes, and probably because of my lack of knowledge of the character of Feathery. But I went back and watched it after reading the book, and I thought it was a lot better. After knowing more about him. So they have that. Mickey's All Stars comes out next week. That is another book from Fantagraphics, and as you can guess from the title, it is Mickey Mouse. And the cool thing about this book is they Fantagraphics just got a bunch of well-known Disney artists to contribute to this book, and it's a continuous long story but each artist gets one page. So Mickey does all the stuff and he goes through a door, and then he'll be on the next page where the next artist takes it over. So I thought that was really cool tribute to him. You'd think it would be something. This was something that would have came out for like his 90th, but maybe it got pushed back as well.
Okay.
The book's only 56 pages, so most of those pages are this story of Mickey going through all the doors and in this big adventure. But it's a really fun book. Retails for $15, and I'm reading it now, and I definitely recommend people getting that. It comes out December 1st. But the other cool story, and our good friend Dan Cunningham beat me to this because I've been looking almost every day for when the Fantagraphics was going to post the Disney Afternoon Volume 1 cover art for their release in the summer, which is going to have Just Us, Justice Ducks, and a Goofy movie comic, as well as and I don't know, the best story, the Chaos Gods. That's coming out this summer, but the cool part is it is a really nice purple cover with James Silvani Darkwing Duck on there, and it's going to be an instant buy, I'm sure. It's already up for pre-order. I think I'm waiting this week or next week. Amazon usually does a $5 off book coupon. That if they do that this week, I'm probably going to apply that to my order and pre-order, because once the book starts to get towards release, Amazon will drop the price, and then whatever the lowest price is, I'll get $5 off of that. So just a recommendation for that, and I'll probably get this. I'm so excited about this. We'll get the digital copy, and I need to have a hardback of this because this is the Disney Adventures comics, and I mean it is awesome that Fantagraphics is taking on that journey. And they have
labeled it Volume 1.
Yes, absolutely. Volume 1 is going to be a lot of content they could do for multiple volumes. If you zoom in on the cover and you look at the top, the Thunderquack is on the side spine.
Oh, yeah.
Of this volume, or at least in this preliminary cover art that we have.
Yeah, we don't know if it's final, but...
Yeah, James was just as surprised as us to see his art on this book, because he didn't work on I don't think he worked on the Disney Adventures stuff. So
well, and the image I think is from Darkly Dawns the Duck. Their first story when they did the Boom comics.
Yeah,
I think it looks like it. So yeah, it's interesting. $29.99 currently up for pre-order. Will be. I'm sure once we see that $5 coupon, we'll be praising that and letting people know that it's available. And like you said, with Amazon, when you do that, you get that pre-order price guarantee. It drops down to $14.99, and you got a $5 coupon. You get a deal.
Yeah.
So
I think the lowest will probably go would be $19.99, but still $15.
Yeah.
For that hardcover book is a dream come true.
Yep. Agreed. All right. One other item in Duck merch, and it was a huge surprise. I think you came across this in one of your Funko groups. You sent it to me, and I was like, oh, instant buy. But there's a Darkwing Duck expansion pack coming to the Funkoverse board game. Now I've spoke about the Funko Something Wild card game on the podcast, and I did a blog. It's fun. Like I've actually got it right here next to me. We play it, once a week. We're always playing it. We've actually got 2 sets right now, and we might possibly have more on the way. One day.
What do you have?
What's that?
What's the 2 themes that you have?
So we have the Mickey Mouse. Can you see them, or is it taking?
It's I can't see it on there, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so we've got Mickey Mouse, and then we've got Disney Villains, which has the Maleficent figure.
I saw there's a Nightmare Before Christmas one. That one looked fun.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so we've got the fun part about that, kind of off topic, but the fun part about this game, I highly recommend this game. It's kind of like playing Uno, It's easy enough that your younger kids can pick it up, but it's complicated enough that you can have fun with it as an adult. Because when I watch the girls play it by themselves, they stick to kind of the easier part of the rules and kind of ignore some of the more complicated parts, but they still have a lot of fun trading the figure and everything. But then when we're playing with them, we sometimes use some of the other magic and stuff that they forget about, and it becomes a lot more fun. And then you can also stack the decks. So if you had all 4 decks, you could play with all 4 decks. Or I said 4. I think there's 5 or 6. So yeah,
you need them all, Mitch. They fit in a stocking too.
Yes, they do. They do fit in a stocking. But yeah, that's a great game. I highly recommend it. I hope they expand the series. I've already been tweeting at Funko about needing a Darkwing Duck one. I mean, they have models for a lot of the characters already. So there's no, maybe they do a Disney afternoon because we've got.
I mean, I would love to see a Ducktales. They've released a lot of different characters. I think DuckTales would be a good Funkoverse theme for like the base game. It's fun. Funko oversaturates the market and confuses their consumers with there's so many different versions of this Funkoverse game out there. Yeah. That you have no idea what's going on.
It was incredibly complicated when I started looking into it after you sent me the
so
image.
It comes in different varieties. So there's like the ultimate pack, which would include 4 figures.
Mini figures. They're not full size, right?
Yeah, they're not full size. So if you want this Darkwing, you definitely gotta get it. But they have 4 figures and probably like 2 maps that you can play on, and just dice, all the different pieces. And then there's a 2-pack ones. Sorry, the 4-pack's $35 retail. The 2-packs are usually $25. And they have really fun themes too.
And it's a full game, right? The 2-packs, you can play a game.
Is the full game as well. It might come with a little less things, or maybe that's just the 2 extra less figures you're not paying for. But I feel like the 2-packs had better themes than the 4-packs. 4-packs had like Harry Potter and
DC Comics,
Thrones, and DC. You got the DC one, didn't you?
Yeah, and wasn't there a Jurassic Park one? Was that a 2-pack or a 4-pack?
Jurassic Park one did look pretty fun, but they also have Jurassic Park in a 2-pack that had Ian Malcolm and the T-Rex, and I don't know how you can resist Ian Malcolm and the T-Rex. But also Amazon has an exclusive Nightmare Before Christmas one, which I'll have on my mind, because this Darkwing Duck one, which comes with the 1 figure of Darkwing. The packaging on it looks ridiculously cool. Mm-hmm. Has Darkwing going down the bridge, St. Bernard Bridge, and he's in his Funko's style. And it comes like Mitch said, is the mini Funko Darkwing, and it's not really mini, but it's smaller.
They're smaller.
Full size. And this will come with minimum items that you can expand onto the full base set that you're going to have to buy. And I wish there would be, like I said, a DuckTales or Disney Afternoon set that you could add this to. But we think this is coming out in February. It hasn't been officially announced yet. But it comes with the figure that we've mentioned like 10 times, a new gas gun item that can make clouds for your characters to hide in, because these are just cards that you can add to it. So if you had the Jurassic Park set, you could, or the one I think is really cool is the Jaws set that comes with the shark and Quint. But you can have the shark, Jaws, or the T-Rex have the gas gun item. It also comes with an I am the terror that flaps in the night trait. I don't know what that is. I know the phrase. But Darkwing Duck can jump out of hiding to surprise your foes. If he's ever knocked down, Darkwing Duck can use his incredible resilient ability to get right back into the game. And then it says to combine this expansion with other Funko strategy games. So, yeah, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, my thought behind the DC pack was that I know that Tad has said that those classic stories, those Golden Age stories, were a huge influence on Darkwing. So I thought that'd be kind of fun. That's a fun fit. But I will say this, because I know nothing about the game itself. I watched a video that Funko put out explaining the game, and I got incredibly bored. The video, and it may have just been the video, but it looks very complicated for a board game, and reminds me a lot of some of those very, the specialty games. You know what I mean? Where you go to a store, you only find it at the specialty game stores. It reminded me of something like that, where there's a lot of cards and tokens and multi-dice, stuff like that. I'm going to try it. We'll see. I'm definitely getting the Darkwing Duck.
Oh, yeah, you have to. And this is the first, actually, besides the Disney Afternoon book, this is one of the first merchandise we've seen for Darkwing Duck's 30th anniversary year. So hopefully this is going to be a trend, and we'll just continue to see. I'm sure the pin releases will be out of control. Good thing we don't do pins.
Have you looked up how much the expansion packs typically are?
Yeah, they're about $15.
Okay.
So, I mean, this does come with a figure and a couple other things, and it's Funko products, so they got to jack the price up a little bit.
A little bit.
So I feel like if it retails for $15, you might be able to find it online for like $12.99 or something like that.
It's possible. We'll keep our eyes out. It's not until February though, so we've got time. And it's not officially announced yet. So
yeah, only one place I was able to find it was a Canadian board game store.
Yeah. All right, that's all the news, all the Duck merch, and let's talk about the fight for Castle McDuck. We are not going to break away to our 30-second recap as we all celebrate. I will say this. I'm really relieved that we're dropping the 30-second for a little while. So this episode was the fight for Castle McDuck. It was written by Madison Bateman, which we've already mentioned. Storyboards by Stephanie Gonzaga, Crystal Ureta, Brandon Warren, and Haley Foster. And then it was directed by Matthew Humphreys. It was a great episode. I said when we first got the list for the November episodes, I said this is probably the one I'm most looking forward to. And I felt it didn't disappoint. It may be my favorite episode so far in the season.
Yeah, you're the only thing you were off on.
Well, except Let's Get Dangerous.
You thought the stone was going to be one of the artifacts from Isabella Finch, and it ended up being the bagpipes,
which was hidden in a stone.
That's true. It's true.
No, I missed it. I was wrong. But they've just kind of been coming up with these mysteries as we go. In that first episode where it was brought up, I really thought we were going to focus on the ones that were on the pages. And they've just kind of brought them in willy-nilly, whatever they needed for the story. That's what the mystery has been. And no exception here. But it was fun.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the Phantom Blot in this episode especially. And I love the Pepper team-up.
Yep.
I feel like that's a fun new character from DuckTales now. Wish we would have seen her a little bit earlier to get her more episodes. But I enjoyed that chemistry and comedic performance. Who was the voice? Do we know who the voice of Pepper was?
Pepper was voiced by Amy Sedaris.
Okay.
And Amy...
And wasn't the other Pepper appearance from season 3 the other Phantom Blot episode?
Yes. She came in and interrupted him while he was plotting.
The Phantom and the Sorceress.
Yeah, so she was... I've looked her up. She was on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Made in Manhattan, School of Rock, Elf, Bewitched, Chicken Little, Shrek the Third. She's been in a number of things. And The Lion King. Not sure if that's the CGI remake or the original, but she's been in a lot of stuff. But I did think the Phantom Blot was a lot better in this episode than his introduction to the series. Well, not his introduction, because I guess we saw him at the end of season 2. But I felt like he was better in this episode. Maybe not so much just more intimidating, because he probably was more intimidating in that first episode, but it was better, all around better, and loved the performance. And really, for me, I love when they dive into the history of Clan McDuck and getting back to the castle. I like that there was a reason why they were back at the castle, because we know that the castle only comes out of the mist like every 5 years. And this is one of the few times that DuckTales tells us how much time has passed. It's been a year, or roughly a year, since the last time we were at Castle.
Yeah, they must not count the hiatus time.
Exactly.
In the timeline.
But we've got that the Phantom Blot was doing that so that they could get to this mystery. And I think it's interesting that the Fowl's still going after these mysteries, even though they didn't seem all that worried about the fact that they didn't get Swanstantine's sword. So we're back at Fowl being interested in the mysteries. It's just kind of weird and interesting. I don't know.
Well, they wanted in Swanstantine. They wanted the feather, and was that Scrooge's feather?
That's what we think. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
What are they going to do with that? We don't even know.
Well, and the next episode talked about the heir of Scrooge McDuck, so we're kind of thinking that's going to tie in somehow. Not really sure.
Matilda was awesome. That was a fun character that we got to see in animation.
Yeah, her introduction was a lot of fun, which we'd seen her in the promos for this episode. We'd already seen her a lot, and but great introduction to the character.
Yeah, this was also a great Webby episode with some great lines. And I think my favorite Dewey thing in this episode was when Scrooge calls him his favorite.
He's like, "What?
What? Favorite?"
And then as soon as Huey and Louie come by, and he's like, they're like, "What's going on in here?" And he says, "Scrooge just said I was his favorite." With everything else going on in the room, that's what's going on in here. Yeah, I think all the kids, including Webby, had great scenes and lines in this episode. Yeah. Really enjoyed all of it, and man, the animation was looking spectacular with them carrying on and giving each other a hard time. I love this episode. This is when we cut away the pilot for Darkwing Duck. This was my favorite episode of the season. It'd be hard to beat this one. And it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of our friends online have gotten us to read those comics and gotten us to kind of dive into the lore of Scrooge McDuck and everything, and seeing it on the show. One of the things I really like about DuckTales 2017 is how different it is from everything that came before. I mean, it's not the same show as DuckTales, and it's not the same story as the comics, but they do give those little nods and Easter eggs to them, which were really good. Which one of the ones that I tweeted about earlier today, this evening, was when Matilda told Scrooge, when Scrooge said he wanted to invest in Matilda's company or business, and she was like, "No, I'm going to make it on my own and not on family money." And he's like, "I made it on my own." And she goes, "No, you had that dime father gave you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "So did everyone know about this but me?" But that's what happened in the comic. In the Don Rosa story, The Last of Clan McDuck, she was there when her father put that plan together and gave birth to Dime, so she knew about it then. And I love stuff like that when they give a nod, because we know the crew read Life and Times preparing for this.
Yeah, and if you loved this episode or even liked it, we cannot recommend The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck by Don Rosa, and Fantagraphics made the re-release of them. Thankfully, because they were getting expensive and out of print before that. And the story, I'm telling you, it's a comic, it's a graphic novel story, but it's one of my favorite books I've ever read. I've read it multiple times from cover to cover, and it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, and as far as Scrooge McDuck and finding out his past, and you get to see more of all these ancestors that you see in Castle McDuck. And I think both of the Castle McDuck episodes that DuckTales has been very well done. And even though Don Rosa should probably still not watch them,
Yeah.
he's not going to like that they added statues and they want to expand the tree. Yeah,
the statues, instead of the they were just suits of armor in his stories. But in this, there's this whole statue room. There were a couple of things that I thought he doesn't need to see. I know Fergus is one of those things, because Fergus is very, very different in the comics. He's a very encouraging and loving father. I don't know that I can remember any scene where he's anything like the Fergus in DuckTales 2017. They're totally different characters, although there are times that 2017 does kind of show you a little bit of the same type of feelings, but they're underneath all the gruffness. So he's very different. And another thing in this episode that stuck out to me that was very different, not that it has to be the same, but it did stick out to me, was when Scrooge denounced his name and was like, I'm just going to be Clan Scrooge. It's like, yeah, Scrooge wouldn't do that. Any of the Scrooges that I've known in the past, I don't think he would. So that's one place where it does break away.
I thought it was funny how Fergus favored Matilda and Donnie favored Downey favored Scrooge.
Yeah,
and he wanted to flip the table. No one's gonna flip that table. The table is huge.
Yeah, she's like, Scrooge, help me flip the table you bought us. I like when Scrooge walks up at the very beginning and he's like, how'd you break the castle? It was good. And he's like, no, it had to be you.
Launchpad hasn't been a couple episodes in a row, so he must be hanging out in St. Canard. I get Darkwing brain again.
Getting dangerous for sure. Hey, did you notice that so we had 3 statues that come to life and interact. Actually, there were more statues, because I guess, was it Dirty Dingus was the head? Yeah, so Dirty Dingus was one of the statues, but then there were 3 large upright walking statues. One of the statues that was large that didn't come to life was Molly Mallard. And I thought that was interesting that they included Molly Mallard, because I've said that they could make a connection there with Drake if they wanted to. And I think that would be fun for this series to find out that he's in the lineage.
I like Molly has a really fun duck portrait.
Yeah.
Tree. She just looks not interested.
Yeah.
And she's very interesting. She looks not interested, but it's a very interesting character.
Yeah, so, I bet.
That was in there. Do you think we'll ever see Hortense?
I don't know why we haven't.
She was on the board. She was on Webby's board.
Yeah, she was on Webby's, and she looks much older than Matilda, which we know from this episode it's because Matilda spends half her time at the castle, and so she doesn't age when she's at the castle. But I thought it was odd. Last week we did get a reference to Hortense in the letter that she sent with Donald and Della to Scrooge. That was the same letter that Della had sent to Donald in the comics for Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So we got a reference to her, but I'm really surprised we didn't get anything in this episode. I'm trying to remember what they say. Scrooge does say any of my siblings or any of my sisters. He does say something to the effect of he's got more siblings, or more family. Maybe he just says family, and I took it as siblings. But I thought it was strange that they never brought her up while they were there.
Yeah. In Quackmore, we have Donald and Della's dad. We haven't seen him except for just a picture on Webby's board as well. So,
and there's a whole nother family there because he's related to the Coots.
For sure.
So, which, we got just a little bit of that in the Cornelius Coot episode with Corn. But we still didn't get any Quackmore. So, yeah, I think it's odd that we haven't had that. I know that when Don Rosa did A Letter from Home, is it A Letter from Home? It is A Letter from Home, yeah.
Great story.
Yes, amazing story. We had some people, I think it was Lisa, who's been on our podcast, read it for the first time this week in preparation for this episode, and she said it was really great. She's a huge Scrooge fan. She never read that story. I remember when I read it for the first time, that was the story that Morgan recommended that we read.
Yeah, that's in volume 10 of the Don Rosa library. So that was towards the end of Don's stories, and it was just even then he was like the top of his game, one of his best stories in the last volume. So cannot recommend those enough.
Yeah, but he has said he originally wanted to include Matilda and Hortense in that story, and he was told that he couldn't use her. And so I wonder if maybe they're not using her in the same way, I guess. I don't know. I think it's very odd that she's not been in anything, and that they don't talk about her. But going back to Matilda, the voice actors did a great job. I really liked how they were playing. You got all these Scottish actors and actresses in these scenes, and I thought it's really great. We've had some really great casting, and I know that a lot of Doctor Who fans are still going to give me a lot of gruff because I don't know Michelle Gomez's role in Doctor Who. I know it's something about the Master because I Googled it, but I don't know much about the character or the interaction that she had. I think I read somewhere maybe her character doesn't interact with Tennant, so it's not really like her and Catherine, or like him and Catherine Tate, where their characters actually did interact. But it's still cool that you got this cross.
So
yeah, that's cool.
Their universe.
It's one of those things where I can see that this show does a lot of little compartmentalized call outs to other things. Like now that I've been watching Community for the last little bit, there's so many things that Huey does that is Danny Pudi's character in Community. Like they sound almost identical to me now when I'm watching the shows. I was actually having a conversation with Sean from YouTube. We were talking about, I think it was Kion who shared some of the animation that she was working on for this episode. And if you click on the rough, it's got the scratch on the voices, so the voices aren't Danny Pudi. Let's see. I guess it was Louis that starts talking, and then his voice kind of switches over to somebody else. And then all the time that Huey's talking, it's not Danny Pudi. And then you do get Ben Schwartz at the end. And then we found out via Twitter that it was actually Matthew Humphreys who directed this, who was doing the scratch on the nephews. But I was talking with him about how Danny Pudi's voice is very much Huey's voice. And then we've had the Doctor Strange time and all the other little callbacks like cool. That's been used several times, but with other words. And I think there was one in this episode. But it's really cool how they do that. So I could see there being some Doctor Who stuff scattered throughout everything.
Did you see the Animaniacs?
I did. They had the watch party available over on Twitter for the first episode.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have Hulu.
I don't have Hulu either.
But I did watch the watch party, and I saw the first episode, and it had a really fun DuckTales reference during a reboot song that the Warner Brothers and sister sing. So I thought that was really, really cool reference. And just like DuckTales, Animaniacs is a great reboot from what I've seen. Classic songs and great references to the 90s show.
Yeah, it was a fun little call out.
Yeah, it was a billboard, and it did say like the real DuckTales or something.
Yeah, it said the real DuckTales, and it was like a real duck in Scrooge hat.
Yeah,
maybe some clothes too. I'm not sure.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was a good gag.
All
I know
the
you tweeted that.
Rejoiced on Twitter.
I was kind of disappointed because I saw the watch party and I watched it late that night, and then when I went to show it to the girls, because they've seen Animaniacs. When I went to show it to the girls, it wasn't available anymore, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're going to have to get Hulu at some point."
Yeah, I wonder if they would ever bring that over to Disney Plus.
Probably not. Is Hulu also getting the Tiny Toons reboot? Aren't they doing a continuation of Tiny Toons?
Might be HBO Max. I'm not sure.
Okay.
HBO Max is getting a lot of stuff.
Yeah. They are getting a lot of stuff. The new streaming content world that's out there, it's nuts.
You gotta buy it all.
Yep.
I watched The Witches recently on HBO Max, which I prefer the original version, but this was entertaining. I think they had way too much CGI, but it was still cool to see a fairly new movie this year when everything else was so canceled.
Yeah. I'm still hoping. I saw some more conversation out there of Black Widow getting a Disney Plus premium
It's possible.
release. I want it. I'm not going to go to the theater this year, but I'd love to be able to watch it.
December's gonna be a big month with for Disney Plus and HBO Max so they got Mulan that's coming out.
Mulan gets the full release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the full release will come out first week of December, which I guess is next week. But also,
Wow.
Christmas Day, Disney Plus is going to have Soul. And also on Christmas Day, HBO Max is going to have the new Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
So one of our Christmas traditions is at least the past few years, we've gone to see whatever the latest Star Wars movie was. After we open our presents, we go to AMC and would see whatever the latest Star Wars release was. And so this year, I guess we could do a double feature of Soul and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. You know, one thing, no Star Wars releases in the near future anytime soon, actually. But I'm okay with it as long as we keep getting great Mandalorian content.
Yeah, we'll have to start Mandalorian talks.
Those last couple of episodes have been phenomenal. I so wanted to do another bonus cast. Maybe once the season's over, we do it. What was that?
I said maybe after Mandalorian season 2's over, we'll do something.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a couple of months without Ducktales, so
At least.
we're gonna fill it up though. I do have a couple of special guests under our sleeves that we hope we can get on soon, especially during our DuckTales hiatus.
And we've had some people that we've talked to who were up for coming on, but while trying to review the episodes, it's just hard to also fit an interview in. So we've not been able to get to it. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we can start booking those and have some have some fun conversations with people. But with that, I think we're done for this week. So until next time.
Stay dangerous. And Glon Goldman.
DuckTalks is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds or audio clips played on this podcast are the property of their copyright holders.